What is up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel, and in today's video we're going to talk about what it takes to get there versus what it takes to stay there, because it's so important that you understand that it takes a different mentality, a different mindset to get where you're trying to go versus staying where you were trying to go. If you're trying to grow your woodworking business, so you're trying to get off the ground, you're trying to build something reputable, what does it take to get there? So here's some things that it takes to get to a baseline of a reputable, good business, okay? So number one is you need to have a baseline of systems in place. So you need to have a system for generating leads, you need to have a system for producing your product, and you need to ultimately have a system for keeping your customers happy. At this point, it's probably just you, maybe you and your spouse running your business. You don't have any hired help. You're maybe working out of your garage or the shop in the backyard. That's completely okay. That's where we all started. But you're gonna need systems to keep you on track and give you some predictability inside of your business, okay? So number one, just a baseline of systems. And this is, again, to get where you're trying to go. Number two is a focus on sales and marketing. If you do not hone in on sales and marketing, it doesn't matter if you have the best product in the entire world, you're not gonna win. And so a lot of people think that if they have the best product, that automatically means that they're gonna win. That is not the case. The best known product is always the one that wins, okay? So how do you become more well known? And you should focus on sales and marketing in order to do that. If you don't know what to do, be sure to check out some of the resources that I have listed below. The first thing that you should do, if you haven't done it already, is downloading the Handmade Business Secrets ebook. It's completely free. That's the first link in the description below. So number three is you need to have a grinded out mentality. Listen, if you're trying to build something, and especially if you're trying to build it by yourself, you're gonna have to understand that there is no clocking out at 5 o'clock. There is no, well, I just don't feel like working today. There is no prolonged vacations, right? When you're trying to get something off the ground, you have to come into it with both eyes wide open that it's going to take a lot of energy and a lot of effort to move the needle, because you're the only one that can move the needle. Once you get there and you have a team, your team will help you continue to move the needle. But for now, it all is gonna come down to you. You've gotta be able to grind it out. You've got to be able to sacrifice in the short term to be able to build something sustainable long term. And so you've got to have a grinded out mentality to make it work. Last thing here to get there is you've got to be refining your product, and you have to have a good product. And so for those of you that are building furniture, one of the biggest things that I can recommend is getting past regular old cheap, Lowe's or Home Depot, Menards lumber, building your furniture. You need to find an actual hardwood supplier. You need to start building tables out of hardwood, and you need to also refine your finishes. How do I get higher quality finishes on my products? And so that's one of the things that we go over, we teach inside of the Woodworking Business Accelerator program. If you're really trying to scale, you should check that program out below. Okay, so that's what it takes to get there. Okay, so if you just do these four things, create just a baseline of systems, which means that you just have some way to acquire leads. You focus on sales and marketing first. That's your number one priority. You have a grinded out mentality, and then you ultimately develop a good product. You'll get where you're trying to go. But here's what it takes to stay there. Just know that these are wildly different, and they require wildly different frames of reference for you in your mind. You have to think differently once you've kind of gotten to a place of success and you want to stay there and then even continue to grow past it. So the first thing that you need to stay there once you've built a successful business is that you need a strong team. You need team members around you that can help propel the vision. And so one of the things that I talk about the most on this channel is always leverage, the power of leverage. You have 24 hours in a day. Doesn't matter how hard you work, you can't get a 25th hour. But when you hire another team member, you've just added 24 more hours to the working day to push the vision. Not technically the working day, you've added 8 to 10 more hours to the working day. But the more team members that you have, the more time you can condense into a single day. That's what allows organizations to scale rapidly, is because they hire the right people and they add a conjoined effort to keep moving the ball forward. One of the most beautiful things that I remember happening in my woodworking business was I remember that if I wasn't in the shop, nothing was getting done, right? I remember having that feeling. I felt like I could never sit down on the couch, felt like I could never rest because, what I needed to be getting done in the shop wasn't getting done. Because if I wasn't out there, no one was there to do it. And I remember the first time that I had my first full-time employee, and I remember stepping out of the shop and knowing that things were going to continue moving forward in the shop without me. And that was just a powerful feeling. It's a powerful feeling to know that you have a team that can help move the vision forward other than just you, okay? So you need a strong team. Number two is that you need to develop leadership skills. The reality about having a team is that if you don't develop leadership leadership skills, that team's going to implode. You're going to have bad morale, miscommunication. You're going to have frustrations among the team. I'll be the first to admit that this has been a challenge for me. I am a full-time pastor, and I have to deploy a lot of leadership skills there at the church. And sometimes it's been very difficult for me to also keep up from the leadership standpoint with Iron by Iron Woodworks. And there have been moments where the team's gotten disgruntled, they've been frustrated, and I have to reset, I have to come back in and cast some new vision, get everybody back on the same page. But if you can keep everybody there, you're going to have a much healthier organization. It's going to flow and function much, much better. So number three, the third thing that you need to stay there is that you need to have fresh vision. It's very easy when you're growing a business to have a lot of vision and be excited about the vision. Once you get to where you're a pretty good size, you really sometimes go through these seasons where you lack vision for the business, and you need to develop vision if you don't currently have it. Or maybe you've lost some vision. There's a million different ways you can do this, but one of the greatest ways that I get fresh vision is I look at the competitors ahead of me and I start seeing what they're doing that sets them apart, that makes them unique. And I start trying to kind of craft my own version of that and get some fresh vision by doing that. So number four, this one is so important, and that is cash flow management. You know, when you have a business that's doing, let's say, $10,000 a month, you know, each week you have hundreds of dollars maybe flowing in and out of your account. Well, right now my business is doing between $70,000 and $80,000 per month on average. And the problem with that, we have about $20,000 a week flowing in and out of the account, which is, you know, $3,000 to $4,000 or $5,000 a day, which is terrifying. It's scary, and you need to have a plan in place. You need to learn how the ebb and flow of money works inside of your business. You need to make sure that cash is flowing as it should be, and that you're not missing any of your marks because cash isn't flowing, okay? So number five, in order to stay there, is you need to have endurance. It's one of the things that a lot of people look past. A lot of people come to me because they want the tactics, they want the strategies to growing, and those are all important and you need to have them. But one of the things that we don't talk about nearly enough is the mindsets that you have to have as well. Guys, you're gonna have some of the best days of your life growing a business, and you will also have some of the worst days of your life growing a business. Some of the challenges that you're gonna face will be gut-wrenching, soul-crushing, and it'll be so difficult that you don't know you're gonna make it through it. But you have to display endurance. The whole idea here, guys, is that you don't wanna just build something real fast that just burns to the ground. You wanna build something for sure. There's a quote, don't get rich quick, get rich for sure. And so it's the same way with your business. Is you want to build something and you want to display, you have to have grit and you have to have endurance to keep it moving forward. And so the last thing I would say in order to stay there once you've built something successful is that you need to have innovation and you need to introduce new products, new product lines. And so one of the biggest things that I see a lot of businesses struggle with is that they get busy writing orders and that they don't have anybody designated to new product design or innovation. And so you need to constantly be rolling out some type of new product. You need to be constantly introducing a new design, because if you don't, you're going to eventually flood the marketplace with what you currently offer and your sales are going to start dipping. But if you're constantly innovating, constantly offering something new, you're going to keep your market intrigued, entertained almost, and they're always going to stay on the hook for what you have coming out next, okay? The last thing I'll leave you with in this video is this quote. The goal is not to go into business, the goal is to stay in business. The goal is not to get married, the goal is to stay married. The goal is not to get in shape, the goal is to stay in shape. There's a big, big difference, and it takes a different mentality to not only get there, but to stay there. For those of you that are trying to grow your woodworking business, I've got some resources below. Be sure to check out the Handmade Business Secrets ebook. We've got the Handmade Hero Academy program. You walk through it by yourself, but it's giving you all the tactics and all the skills to make sure that, number one, you have a great product, you can sell that product, but then also, how do you run paid advertising and successfully launch that product online? And then lastly, if you're really trying to scale, be sure to check out the Woodworking Business Accelerator program, where I'm gonna be partnering with you to run your ads for you. I'm gonna be coaching you personally and also helping you with a few other tactics that are pretty awesome. Get your woodworking business off the ground quickly and effectively. With that being said, love you all. I'll see you in the next video.